Jacquie Dale, and I am a Cascabel resident, and I'm also a preservation archaeologist for the Center for Desert Archaeology. I'm also a member of the Cascabel Working Group, and the Cascabel Working Group asked me to give this 5-minute talk today. I'll try to keep it sort of brief. So in this slide, the Center for Desert Archaeology identified over 500 sites along the river during an archaeological survey in the 1990s. Several of these were then further investigated through test units. This map actually shows from Winkleman all the way down to Benson. That's where the 500 sites are, and the little dots are the sites. Most of the survey area was actually done specifically along the river, although we didn't range outside of the river too much. So those areas are not that well surveyed. Within the study, they found a range of sites in different time periods represented from the pre-agricultural to the historic period. Sites include features such as agricultural rock piles, like you see here on the right. These rock piles are widespread on many of the slopes on both sides of the river, and they were used for growing agave by prehistoric residents in this valley. A kiva at one of the sites, shown in the upper left, was excavated by the Amaranth in the 1950s. That's up on the left there. It indicates movement of migrants from the Kayenta Tusayan area, or what some people refer to as the Anasazi, but they're the ancestors of the Hopi. This pottery vessel that you see in the bottom left is a Salado polychrome, a type often associated with late Classic period sites in the San Pedro Valley. And in the San Pedro, the Classic period is defined as dating from about 1200 to 1450 AD. At least 40 of the sites identified were villages inhabited by 75 to 250 people and associated with large cemetery areas. Many of these villages were occupied for centuries, generating considerable archaeological deposits. Ball courts, like the one in the picture on the left, were associated with some of the sites along the river. This ball court is actually in Reddington. These villages are classified as compound villages, platform mounds, and pit house types. On the right is a typical compound type site found along the river, and this was excavated in the 1970s as part of the highway salvage project when there was deemed to be a highway coming through. They were planning to put a highway through this valley, which thankfully never happened. Rock art is also present in various locations in the valley. The tributaries where I've seen most of the rock art is Buman Canyon and Redfield Canyon. The ones on the left, well, the white chalky ones are from Buman Canyon, and this one is from Redfield Canyon. The valley had historic settlers, and much of the evidence for their homesteads still exists archaeologically. Many descendants still have strong links to the valley. Family cemeteries are still evident and used. A few years ago, I actually undertook a project with the help of volunteers and mapped and recorded several historic cemeteries in the area. Is Harold here? Local individuals are aware of the importance of cultural sites and want to preserve those sites. One such investment in preserving cultural resources was by Harold and Mignon Elliott, who donated an archaeological conservation easement to the Center for Desert Archaeology to protect the site in perpetuity. This is a picture of Harold on his site with his dog Red. Sorry, Harold, I should have warned you. Another local site is now under conservation easement with BLM due to the owner's interest in preserving the site. In this slide, you can actually see excavations on the Taylor site with the help of local volunteers. That's in the top left. Sites on the property show nearly 5,000 years of human use. The rock ring feature at the bottom right is a Sabaikri house, and archaeological and historic evidence suggests that this may be the site of San Salvador de Baicatcan, a site visited by Father Kino in the late 1600s and early 1700s. So we actually have historic documentation linking this site. Residents of the valley are both formal and informal site stewards of the local sites. In 2009, I trained 15 local residents to be Arizona site stewards. There are now a total of 26 stewards in the lower San Pedro region actively monitoring sites from Benson to Winkleman. Here are some of the local site stewards visiting a historic site in Cascabel and a prehistoric site in Redington area. Looks like a beautiful place. So in summary, a great number of sites are well preserved in the valley. This is unusual in southern Arizona to have so many intact, well-preserved sites in one area. In fact, the Center for Desert Archaeology refers to the valley as having an intact cultural landscape. This scale of regional preservation provides an opportunity to interpret sites as part of a broad cultural and economic landscape, rather than as an isolated phenomenon. The great time depth allows us to study changes in the landscape since humans first inhabited the New World. Such opportunities are no longer available in valleys such as Phoenix, Tucson, and Safford, where early development destroyed much of the archaeological record without adequate documentation. Considering the non-renewable character of cultural resources, this landscape should be preserved for current and future stakeholders, including Native American groups, archaeologists, and the interested public. There are a significant number of individuals and organizations that have made an investment in preserving and monitoring the cultural resources in the valley. Individual landowners, the Bureau of Land Management, Center for Desert Archaeology, and residents as site stewards, and the state as a coordinating agency for the Arizona Site Steward Program. They've all invested time and money for this. This demonstrates that this is a very special place and therefore one that is worth preserving. Power lines have the potential to destroy archaeological sites directly and indirectly by providing roads into areas that were previously inaccessible, thereby leading to looting, vandalism, and loss of these resources. I have one more brief slide. So I was asked to talk about paleontological resources. Now, I'm an archaeologist, so I don't know a lot about this, but this is a slide of a brontotherium, or an artist's rendition of a brontotherium. In addition to the cultural resources, there is one unique and interesting paleontological site that I know about in the Cascabel area. The footprints from a brontotherium, an Eocene mammal dating about 33 million years ago, are found in Turan Wash. This is an artist's rendition that I actually stole off the internet to have been related to hippos and horses.